What's up, guys? Welcome to the Top Shelf Show. My name is Dustin Kinnan. We are so excited to have you here. On this show, we talk to high-quality entrepreneurs and business owners about life, about family, about work, about goals and dreams and everything that goes into being an entrepreneur. We are so excited to have you here. We hope you walk away with some incredible insight into their lives and their stories and some inspiration for your business and your brand and achieving the goals that you have for your life. Thank you so much for checking it out, and we'll see you in there.
Well, welcome to the Shelf Life. We have Chris Breen here. You do a lot of different things, so I'll let you dive into it. But yeah, welcome to the Shelf Life. Chris, why don't we'll start off, why don't you just tell me about you, like all the things you do.
Yeah. So as we're recording here, I'm 47 years old. Feel like I'm 37. I don't know where the last 10 years went, but I am a husband, a father, an entrepreneur. I love fitness. I love challenging myself. I love winning. Ultimately, I find myself in a lot of leadership roles in my life, and I love it. But probably my favorite thing is just being a dad. And, that's brought a ton of joy into my life. My oldest is actually getting ready to graduate, which just sounds crazy, college, in May. So,
dope.
Yeah, one of them going to be out of college. So
yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
She's
College of Charleston.
College
right?
Charleston. Yep. She went in, overachiever type A. She went in with, a full year's worth of college credits right out of high school. So she saved me some money. She only had 3 years of college to pay for. So that's fantastic. I've got, she's 20, she'll be 21 in June. My middle son, Connor, is 19. He's actually got an advanced welding certificate, and he's just amazing, creative guy. He's getting ready to go to cosmetology school. So he's going to be a welder, he's adding to his arsenal of tools that he can pull from for being creative. So, and then my youngest is 12, Ethan. So 2 boys and 1 girl.
Yeah. Well, then, okay. So, now you and Amy, y'all work together with Legacy Deck.
Yep.
Kind of tell me about, just Legacy Deck. Like, how did that get started?
Yeah, so we own Legacy Decks, which is a outdoor living company. We do everything outdoors basically, so except pools and landscaping. We started that business. It's 8 years old now. If you would have ever told me I was going to be back in construction again, I would have told you you're crazy. So long story short, I owned another construction company from 2004 to 2013. Exited that, made some money there. Sold our house, sold a bunch of our possessions. We actually went on this long journey to determine if we were going to become missionaries. Long story short, we can go into that detail if you want, but started this company in 2016. And it really kind of became like a calling for me. Like I really felt like this is where I was supposed to be at, like, ministry wise, like business is my ministry. Yeah. And so it gives me the opportunity to support a lot of the things that I want to support, essentially whatever I want to support. Yeah. But Amy and I have always been in business together. So we've been married we married in 2001. So 23 years we've been married, and I've been together 27 years. And we've always just done done life together, right? It's not business and life. It's just life, and business is part of our life, and we love doing it. And so, so we do it together, which doesn't work for everybody. Yeah. And sometimes it doesn't work for us, but big picture, the pros outweigh the cons of doing that. And, we've scaled it to something that's really gotten to be fun. We've got an amazing team, with our staff, in-house, like management and sales and production and builders. We've probably got about 24 to 28 people at any given time that are working with us. And Amy and I are both skilled in different areas. She's fantastic in marketing and finance and strategic thinking. Me, I'm the doer, the sales, production, systems. And so we work really well together. We're pretty interchangeable though. So yeah.
Well, then, okay. So something you said that I really like, I liked a lot of it. I liked everything you said, but one of the things that really stood out to me was you said something about like you built it to a point where it can support whatever you want it to support.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you, because I feel like that's the dream. Like when you build a business, it's like the freedom of like, hey, like I just want to, like, I don't want a boss. I want to be my own boss. I want the freedom. You know what I mean? Like what is that like? Do you remember when Legacy Deck like turned the corner, so to speak, of like it went from like, oh hey, we're gonna build this thing, we're gonna try to grow it, we're gonna put the work in, to like, yeah, we can just do what we want today. Like we just like we want to go do that. Great, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't even know that most entrepreneurs realize what the real potential is. They just aren't very employable, right? Like they just want to do their own thing. And if that means working 80 to 100 hours a week for half of what they would make if they worked somewhere else, then that's so be it. That's what they're going to do. And for a lot of my life, that's really what it was. Like I didn't make very much. We worked our tails off, and I didn't know that there was this possibility to get to a place where the business could run without me there. I mean, we traveled last year. We traveled like 125 days. I had 2 people hired into my company while I was on a trip in Fiji. I never met them. I never interviewed them. Never saw their resumes. Didn't make their offers. Didn't skills test them. Like it was like, that was a weird.
You just showed up and they were there.
I came, they had already onboarded into the company, and I met them one day at work, right? Like I just, hey, there's a new
Chris,
project
nice
manager.
To meet you.
Yeah, I own the place, right? But as far as like a moment where I realized that, I don't know that there was like one day I came in, but over time I found myself in this really weird place, which is like, I wasn't the go-to answer guy anymore. I didn't have to solve everybody's problem. I didn't have to swoop in and be Superman hero to fix things. I had empowered people to do that. And I did it very intentionally, right? Like over time, I gradually weaned people off of needing me, whether that be through systems or challenging them to become better leaders or training them, like all kinds of things that like, there's no silver bullet. Like it's 100 golden BBs that get people there. Like it's literally teaching them, when my project manager would come to me and he'd ask me, hey, I need help solving this problem. And I'd be like, well, what do you think we should do? Rather than just jumping right in, right? Because there's that part of us as an entrepreneur, we want to solve the problem. Like we get that dopamine hit of like, that's right. I'm still needed around here.
They still like me.
Exactly. And so it really takes like humbling yourself to the point where it's like, hey, I don't know, Dusty, how would you handle that if I wasn't here? Right. If you couldn't get a hold, and really just starting to challenge people that way. And so I don't know if there was one key moment, but it was probably about 3 to 3.5 years ago that I got to this place where like they just didn't need me there anymore. I didn't have to show up and sell, manage, order materials, do takeoffs, meet with customers. Heck, customers don't even know who I am. Like I don't exist to anybody, which it used to be like, let me talk to Chris. And that's just not the case anymore. So it's really cool. But it was about 3.5 years ago, and I don't know, it was a gradual, just kind of one day I was like, oh, they don't need me there, which kind of was a shot to the ego, but it paid off.
Well, that and like being able to, what you said there, because that was actually going to be something I asked, is like, hey, like how did like to make it super like useful for people who are listening, like how do you do that, right? I love that. It's not a silver bullet, it's 100 golden BBs. So going from I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but going from the like, I have to be involved in everything. Like this won't work unless my hands are in it. Right. To now, obviously you care, right? Like it's not that you don't care anymore, but it's, you don't have to be involved in like every aspect of it. Right. So you mentioned systems, which I feel like just as a business owner, like that's something that has changed my life. Is just like not, being able to, for 2 reasons. Because obviously having the systems, so like you can bring in other people, but even just having the systems for like edification of like, is how I'm doing this actually the best way to do this? Like, is there a way that I can improve this? Is there a way that we can do this, still keep the quality, but do it cheaper? Is there a way we can do it faster? Is there something like AI that we can implement? Like that part of it's cool. But then the other thing you said that I really liked, and I definitely have a personal, experience with it, is like encouraging people to be better and like to build them, right? Has that always been that way?
As far as me helping people become better leaders or encouraging people,
like empowering other people.
No, it definitely wasn't always that way.
Okay.
I think if I look back at the businesses I've owned over the years, in my 20s and my 30s, I had this idea of someday I'll have the time to build the systems. I'll have the people to run the business. I'll have the money to do the things, right? Like someday. Well, like someday is not a day of the week, and someday just was never coming. And so I had to take a really hard look in the mirror at like how I was showing up as a leader. I was the biggest problem in my business. I was the biggest problem in my life. And so it wasn't until I actually hired a coach that challenged me, and I thought I was going in for some business development. Like he was going to teach me how to be a better businessman, run a better business. And the reality is I had to become better as a man to become the person that could build the business. And so I say all that, like it was probably 2016, 2017, where I really got exposed to some different operating systems, both business and personal operating systems that helped me become the leader that I am now, right? Like if you want to have a team of just elite killer A players in your company or in your life period, like you have to be someone worth following. You have to be building something that people want to be a part of. And so for me, I really had to realize that like someday just wasn't coming, and I wasn't figuring out how to make the money, how to buy the time, how to have the team. And so it wasn't until I put myself into a place of like real accountability with someone who had gone through and come out the other side. Like that's the biggest thing. Like hire a coach is, some people look at it as expensive. Like for me, it's an investment. It's an investment in time. Like I want to do it faster. And to do that, you want to borrow someone else's experience. And so for me, that was really what it came down to. But it really came down to not the business tricks, not the hacks, not the systems. That's all great. But it came down to working on the businessman before the business plan. That really is what shifted my thinking and got me to a place where I was someone that people wanted to follow, and I was able to build a team around me because of that. So yeah.
When like I feel like that part, in case anybody's listening and they skipped over it or didn't realize the importance of that, like building, like it's not just about building the business. You have to build the person behind the business. And I feel like that, especially if you're solopreneur, small team, and I mean, you can really make the argument all the way up to a Fortune 500 company and a CEO, right? Because they still are going to impact that organization. Like if you, whatever state you find yourself in, like that is the state that your business is going to be in. 10x. Like, so I know for me, like that, like, it was chaos. I mean, it was literally like, it was just, I don't know I know what I'm doing today, and it's way too much, and I'm not going to be able to get all of it done. And it's just going from fire to fire to fire to fire to fire to fire, and then not having systems and not having, and not even like, and I love what you said about like someday is not a day of the week. And it's like, it's not that I didn't want the systems or didn't want the growth or didn't want the whatever, but it's like I was forever. I feel like that, I think for the longest time, I looked at it backwards of like, I have to fix the business. And then once I fix the business, then I can fix the person. Then I'll
someday you'll have the time.
Yeah. Like someday I'll have the time to fix me. Cause it's like, yes, I would love to be in better shape, and I would love to spend more time with my wife, and I'd love to do these things, but like, I've got to like, but I got to do the business.
This is the vehicle to do it, right?
Exactly. Right? Yeah. Like I've got to get the business right first, and then I can whatever. And it's such a backwards thing, because it's like, no, because you are the biggest influence into your business. And if you're not good, the business is not going to be good. And it really doesn't even, and that's not even a question of like dollars or like growth or sales or whatever. It's literally like, you might be making a lot of money, but it's, the house is on fire, and at some point it's going to burn out. You know what I mean? Like at some point it's not going to be good.
No, and you bring up a good point there as far as like the things being on fire and chaos. Like I was a professional firefighter. Like literally, like I was just running around putting out fires. And the reality is I know, even Dusty, like you're a hustler. Like there's nothing you would do the work required to get the results, right? You're willing to do that hard work and hustle. But I'll challenge you that most people need to hustle less. And actually, here's what I'll say. You can't out hustle your lack of strategic planning. Like if you go into it and you don't have a really clear plan about how you're going to attack it, you're just going to be reacting to whatever's coming at you versus actually you walking through a plan and a path to get there. So like you can't out hustle it, even though we try and we want to, and we're willing to, right?
Yeah.
Put in the hours and pause things with the family and the vacations and even the money, right? Like someday I'll have all those things. If I could just hustle. Reality is we all probably should hustle less. And plan more. So when it go back to like, how did I get there? My coach said like, hey, we're going to start with a really clear plan, right? And then we're going to start to move on things. And that's what most people just don't have a clear plan on where do they want to get to? Like, think about it right now. How old are you now?
I'll be 32 in August.
And how old's your son?
He is coming up on 9 months.
Okay. 10 years from now, he'll be 10 years old, right? What does Top Shelf look like in 10 years?
Oh my gosh.
You're 42. Your son is 10 years old, right? Have you thought about what you want the business to look like then? Does it still look like this? So that's the kind of stuff that like my coach challenged me on is like 10 years from now, my daughter will be 30. My son will be 29. My other son will be 22. Like, what does Legacy Dex look like? What is Legacy Dex Academy? What do I want it to look like? And so I can either reverse engineer from that 10 years out, or I can just play firefighter and hustle my butt off.
And hope that you get somewhere.
And hope I get, right? Like I guarantee you're not going to hit a target that you're not aiming at.
Yep.
So yeah, so it's the biggest thing, like plan. Like people need to spend more time working on like, where do they want to get to? And then reverse engineer. And we got to have execution. Like vision with no execution is just a dream. Yeah. And so we've got to have strategic execution, right? And I know you're going through a lot of this right now with your business, so you get that. But that's a lot of what I do now with my company, and then I model that with other deck builders, and I work with them now too. So, anyways, I'm getting off track.
No, I love it. One, it's like the visual. I always like whenever I hear that of like you have to have a destination, otherwise like you can hustle and you can put in the work, but if there's no destination, like I always imagine like you're like in this valley and you've got these two mountains, right? And like either one of them is going to take work. You're going to have to, it's going to be hard to get up there, right? And it's like, if you don't know which one that you're going to go up to, you very well could spend all of this time and effort and energy and whatever, get to the very top of the mountain and realize you just climbed the wrong one.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And now you got to like backtrack and it's, I don't know, like being able to have the goal line of like knowing where you're going. I know what's funny with that. What's been really great. Yes, having the goal. So like knowing like where I want to be in 10 years, but for me, like what's been really, really just awesome in that and having goals and being strategic with it is inevitably when like like when life happens, you know what I mean? When like this project that was supposed to be this, it turned out to be, was supposed to be X and super easy, turned out to be X, Y, and Z, or this thing is happening on the personal side or this thing, whatever, or even like, it doesn't have to be bad things. It can be good things. Like, hey, there's this, like, I'm an idea guy. So I'm always like, we could do this, we could, but even like with that of being able to like, okay, like I remember I came to you like a couple months ago with like this business idea and I was like, hey, this would be really cool. You want to be a part of it? And I remember what you said. Well, I'm paraphrasing what you said, but it was, hey, that sounds cool, but that doesn't line up with what I'm doing right now. That doesn't line up with my goals that I'm pursuing right now. And it's like, I love that because like that's been really great, honestly, because like I'll have these other ideas. It's like, okay, cool, awesome, great idea. But how does it line up with what I'm doing right now? Does it fit? And not that things can't necessarily change down the road, but but otherwise, if I don't follow where I'm going right now, then I'm just going to be, shiny object, shiny object.
And most entrepreneurs are visionaries. They are like, shiny object. And so that's why I love that you brought up that analogy, because it makes it so much easier to say no to things that you shouldn't jump into, even though I would have loved to be a part of that idea. And I'm like, yes, content creation studio, like I can be a part of this. Love the idea. It was like, if I look at my goals for that year, when you asked me about it, and even the bigger picture, it wasn't in line with what I should be doing. So it was a distraction. So it made it, not that it was easy to say no, but it wasn't in alignment with where I'm going. Yeah. And so, having that clear plan makes it a lot easier. You don't have to continue to decide day after day, week after week, am I going to do this way? Am I going to go? No, because we're going that way. Right. So that makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
So,
well, and then, so kind of talking like, your like personal development journey, right? So I know you said you got a coach, right?
Yep.
And then what's so kind of beyond just like business coaching, like, cause I know, obviously there's a business aspect of it, but then the personal part as well. And I want to make sure you get a chance to talk about like LDX and talk about like this incredible thing. Why do you care? Sounds like kind of a harsh question, but like, but genuinely, like, for those of you that don't know, so Chris, runs is I don't know if the director is the right term, but whatever, like the person behind, an event, personal development thing, called LDX. And I'll let you kind of go in and talk about it. But, actually let's talk, so people know what LDX is. Let's talk about LDX and then I'll ask my question.
So I think we got to tell the really quick story here of your journey in LDX. So LDX stands for the Legacy Day Experience.
Yeah.
And just like my coach started off on the personal side, he's like, hey, we gotta work on you physically, mentally, relationally. Then we can work on the business stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And so just like my coach did that, I believe strongly in that. So I took essentially what my coach taught me, packaged it up for my people, the people that are in my world, and I created the Legacy Day Experience. The reason it's Legacy Dex and Legacy Dex Academy and Legacy Day Experience, because legacy matters for me. Like for me, legacy it's not about what you do in this life today, but it's like what you leave behind you for the people that come behind you. And so for me, I want to create the opportunity for the people in my life to create their own legacy. And so to do that, I think you have to be the leader that your world needs you to be. Like you have to be the guy that your son needs you to be. You have to be the guy that your wife needs you to be. And to do that, you've got to work on yourself. And so the Legacy Day Experience essentially just helps to take all of the knowledge that I've learned over the years of how to be the best version of myself, how to expand in my physicality, my mindset, my relationships with my wife and my kids, how to be a leader. It takes all of those things, packages it up and teaches it to someone like yourself. So Dusty, you actually got brought in to film one of the live events, which we do a 4-day experiential event at the end. You could call it a boot camp, but you'd be wrong. It's not a boot camp, but it's a 4-day live experiential event. And for dudes, sometimes we just got to break them down before we can build them up. So we go through some physical evolutions, but it's more about the transformation that happens for men, the camaraderie that happens when you put a group of guys, 12 guys into a intense experience. Not to say like it's going to war, but it's like going to war against the version of you that you need to break down and build back up. And so we go through that experience. And Dusty, you got called in to record it video wise. So you experienced the whole thing as a witness.
Yeah. Right? What was really funny with that. So sorry, this is just a tangent. So a friend of mine, Spencer Stanton, an incredible photographer, even better person, literally texted me. I think it was like 2 or 3 days beforehand.
Not much before.
Not much before. And what's funny, Ollie wasn't even a month old yet. He was.
That's right.
So I was working, but also like staying home and whatever. And he texted me. He's like, "Hey man, do you know somebody that can film this thing next week?" Because I think he had somebody lined up, but they broke their knee,
their arm or something.
Yeah. And which is. Having now seen LDX, I was like, yeah, that dude would not have been able to do this with a busted knee. Not happening. But he was like, yeah, do you know somebody that can do this? And I love Spencer. He's an incredible person. And I was like, yeah, sure. Let's do it. I'm free. Yeah, let's do it. What can you tell me about it? You know what I mean? Like, what can you, like, what's the timeline? What are we shooting? Whatever. And he's like, well, you're going to be here at this time. And that's pretty much it. That's all I can tell you. And we're gonna be out. And we're gonna be outside. So wear shorts, like just playing for that. And that was it. And that was, it was. I'll be honest with you. For the first 45 minutes or so, I was like, "What in the world is this?" Like, Spencer, what have you gotten me into? Yeah. But to your point, like I had no concept or whatever of introduction to LDX. I didn't even know it was called LDX. Honestly, I found that out halfway through the day. But just outsider looking in, being able to see, I don't know, not see the work, but being able to see kind of the breakthroughs with the guys there that day. And I didn't know like their backstory or kind of what they were working through and that kind of thing. But even just like seeing them on the day, I was like, this is intense, but also B, like, this is really cool. Like, this is like, I could see this being I could see this being a very like pivotal, like point for them where like they're like months, years, they're going to look back at this and be like, I remember when that, I remember when I like that, not even like, I remember when I did X or Y or I went and did this thing, but like, I remember when like that, I had that light bulb moment of like, oh, I can be better. Oh, I can and should be better. You know, I can be better. I should be better. And then this is my like, why, you know, and like being able to cement that and then move on with that is awesome.
Yeah. But then also to come out of it with the tools and the brotherhood, and understand a different way of thinking, a different vocabulary, like all together. So Legacy Day X, and you know, if you want to check it out on Instagram, Legacy Day X is the Instagram. If you want to go see kind of what we're talking about here, but yeah, so that's become a huge part of who I am, what I do, how I've created my world. A lot of my staff has gone through it voluntarily. And it's just been an amazing experience. But the reality is, you know, if success leaves clues, and you know, if you get to the end of this and you haven't, if you haven't been able to create whatever you're trying to create so far inside of your life as a husband, as a father, as a whatever, a wife, an entrepreneur, like, I'll challenge you that maybe you need to go back and do some of the personal work. My coach put it this way, or one of my coaches was like, if you want to take what we could normally do in 3 years and compress it down and get it done in a year, maybe a year and a half, like, you got to do the personal work.
Yeah.
You've got to become somebody different than who you are. And so that was a huge part of how I created what I did, right? Previous 10 years business life, you know, we go into story. I mean, I've filed bankruptcy in the past. Like, I have done it all wrong for a long time. Yeah. And it wasn't until I started to work on me, and become the guy that I knew I could be, become the guy that I wanted to be, that I always knew I was called to be, but just couldn't, like, I was too busy, you know, chasing the money. And someday, you know, was not coming. The someday that I would, you know, work on my body and work on my relationships with my wife and my kids. Like, and so I had to finally just stop and work on me first. So huge part of who I am, what I do. You know, the legacy that I'm trying to leave is to equip as many dudes as I can with the knowledge that I have to create, to expand, to be able to create something of real value. So
yeah. Well, and that, and like, so what's one of the things you said there of like well, you said it a bit ago, but it's that like, there's the personal component of it, and obviously like that bleeds out into the business, right? But then there's a personal part too, like, just as so kind of like set like Chris, the, you know, entrepreneur, to the side, right, for a second. Like, even just like Chris, the guy, Chris, the husband, Chris, the dad, like, because I know, like, and I already kind of know what you're going to say, or I have a general idea of what you're going to say, but I remember how impactful it was for me to hear it. So like, I'm going to tee you up for this, but like, kind of just setting Chris, the entrepreneur and business owner, to the side. Like, what did that mean for you as a person, as a husband, as a dad, to be able to not just like, I don't know, like, not like, I don't want to say just exist anymore, but like, just kind of like, hey, I'm just be reactive. I'm just going to figure it out. I'm just going to blah, 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 whatever. Mm-hmm. But being strategic. Hey, this is who I want to be in 3 years, 1 year, 10 years. Like this is who I want to be. This is what I want to work towards. Like, yeah, just as a guy, as a husband, as a dad, like, what was it like being able to like make that change?
I mean, it wasn't overnight by any means.
Yeah.
Right. But it was about getting clear about what really mattered. I didn't want to get to the end of it all and have any regrets when it came to how I showed up first and foremost as a husband, as a father, and for myself, right? Like, I had to show up for myself first, if I'm ever going to show up powerfully for them. But at the end of the day, if money aside, you know, accolades aside, if I got nothing else than other than to just be the example that my kids, my wife, my team, whoever I have impact with and in, if I just became the example that they needed me to be for them to become something in their life, like, that's all that really mattered to me. I've got a saying on my garage door in my home gym that says, who will they become if you're the example of what's possible? Right. And I didn't know this, but my daughter came in to speak at LDX. I don't know if she spoke at yours. She probably did. I think that was the one where she brought that message. Yeah, she brought her boyfriend. But I think that's the one where she brought that message. And I had no idea what she was going to talk about. I just invited her to come talk and show you guys the fruit of the work that I did. Right. Here's my daughter. She's going to come speak powerfully in front of a group of, 20 something dudes in a room. And that was the message she brought. I had no idea, but like it's on the garage door in my house, and she's been off at college for 3 years now. And that's the message she brought. It's like, hey, my dad's got this thing on the garage door. It says like, who will they become if I'm the example? And then she just shared like who she is becoming. And so that's just super powerful. And I could mention times with my son Connor where I've been the safe place for him to come. Now, does it happen you don't know when it's going to happen that they need you, but just making sure that I put the work in. I made the deposits over and over and over and over again, that when they needed to make a withdrawal, it was there, right? Like they were able to come to me. And so those are really the main things that I think are the most important when it comes to the personal side. No amount of status or money or things can replace that right there, so.
Yeah. Well, that and like being able to, I don't know what's really cool. Like, so first off, when Peyton came, so I wasn't in there for most of when she was talking back the first time when I was filming,
right, when you recorded.
Because I was editing, honestly. So I was in there just long enough to grab some footage and I was rolling out. But I remembered sitting in the room, and again, no real, like I had, at that point I had a vague understanding of LDX or what it was, or whatever. I knew that it was, I at least knew about the in-person part of it. But like, I didn't know about the work leading up, or like the secondary.
The 4 weeks of training leading up to it. Yeah.
Yeah. And but I remembered, in the, again, context, like Ollie had just been born. Yeah. I didn't have, it's better now, but I didn't have a great relationship with my dad growing up. Yeah. And I remembered, there's this, I guess she would have been 20 at the time, whatever. There's this college girl who's like standing up at the front, and she's like something to the effect of, I remember when my dad, made the shift, started doing these things, started making these deposits, and was writing Post-it
notes. Yeah.
And she's like, I remember when he would like start leaving these Post-it notes for us, and really became this person, you know what I mean? And she I think she took all the Post-it notes to college with her.
Yeah.
Which I was like,
in a journal. Yeah.
And I'm sitting in the back of the room, and I'm just thinking first off, that's awesome. That's, oh my gosh, that's so freaking cool. But then my second thought was man, you know what? Top shelf aside, money, whatever aside, you know what I mean? How freaking awesome would it be if one day when Ollie goes to college, or whatever he does with his life, right? He can say the same thing, you know what I mean? Of hey, he has that relationship, or I have that relationship, we have that relationship. Yeah. And being able to say oh, hey, whenever I've needed my dad, he was there. You know what I mean? Whether it was advice, whether it was just somebody to talk to, whether it was somebody to hang out with and have a great, whatever. I got to have that relationship with my dad, and being able to do, you know what? Screw the bank account, screw the what, right. The rest of it is cool, but that's winning. That is, you've made it. You know what I mean? Anyway.
Now, take it a step further, and what if you could have both? Right? Literally Amy this weekend, you know what she just got done doing this weekend? She was sitting on the couch. Peyton wants to do, two things. Peyton wants to hike the Grand Canyon.
Is she going to go with you?
Yeah, she's going to hike the Grand Canyon
with
us.
That's cool.
That was why I'm going again, is because she wanted to do that when she graduates. So that's one thing. But my wife had told her she would take her on a cruise. And so she just got done planning they're going to be gone for 14 days. And I don't think Peyton knows this yet, but they're taking
we won't hear this. They're
taking a European cruise. So they're flying from here to wherever in Europe, I don't know, and going on I think it's a 9-day cruise. And then Amy's like, wouldn't it be cool if we could stop off for a couple days in Paris? And so she navigated a flight from wherever the cruise ship port's at to Paris, and then Paris back here to Atlanta to Greenville. And so they're going to spend 2 days in Paris, and they're gone for like 14 days. I'm like, babe, did you realize that like right after that, I leave for the Grand Canyon and I'm gone for not like, it's this whole, we're gone for like a month straight. But just imagine, not, you know, having the relationship that your kids trust you. Like for me, I've always wanted to remain like that trusted advisor. Like when stuff goes down, like they know they can come to mom and dad and we'll help them. Right. And so not only having that relationship, but also having the money to be able to do the things like that, like to be able, anyways. So just,
yeah. Well,
all that aside is great too, but like do it both, have them both.
Well, and so what's funny is I'm not quite at the traveling part yet. I will say though, your Instagram story is very inspiring. Genuinely, it's cool. Like it's really cool seeing you guys go and do all these places and like they're, you know, like, just a moment of transparency. There's probably a version of Dusty from a couple years ago that would have been like, man, this guy's freaking just showing off. He's just whatever. Yeah. And like, but honestly, like I look at it now and I'm like, dude, go heck yeah, man. That's so freaking cool. Like love that. You know what I mean? But even like taking it like a little like closer to home, right? So a big thing for us right now. So Elizabeth works and doesn't want to. And honestly, like Elizabeth was made to stay home. Like she's great at what she does. She's very, very good at what she does. But like that is like her, like in the same way that like, this is my heart. Like this is just what I love to do. She wants to stay home. Like that is just her like thing, you know what I mean? And so that's kind of like what we're working towards right now is like being able to like on the one hand like building Top Shelf and then you know getting debt free and like doing these things. But what's been so great is like, so we'll actually it's our third anniversary on Thursday, on Wednesday, this upcoming week. And what's so cool is this is the first time I think ever, honestly, in the entire time we've been married where we actually have like, I mean, we've had like goals and dreams and it'd be cool to do this one day, whatever. But actually having like, no, this is what we want to do. And this is when we're going to do it. And this is like almost that reverse engineering of like, hey, so, you know, so for us, like a big thing is her being able to stay home. So it's like, okay, so ideally, you know, when child number 2 is on the way or, you know, like delivering child number 2, like when child number 2 is here, you're home. Like that's the goal, right? So, but as we've been able to like reverse engineer that and say, okay, so if that's the goal, what needs to happen between now and then? Okay, so we need to get debt free. This needs to be happening with Top Shelf. This, you know what I mean? Yeah. But it's so cool. We weren't having those kind of conversations 6 months ago. Like we were kind of just, honestly, we were just putting out fires. We were just kind of existing
Survival.
And it'd be great to maybe one day I could stay home, maybe one day this, maybe one day that, whatever. But yeah, I mean, like, and that's so kind of like mirroring the two ideas, like that, like, I don't know. I like, it's just really cool that like, and obviously we want to travel too. Like she really wants to. So that's actually one of the goal is when we get debt free is, to go to like the UK because she has wanted to go for like ever. And I got to live there for a year and So, but being able to like, I don't know, like whether it's like staying home, whether it's being able to go on dope trips, like being able to like, hey, this is what we want, working towards it, but then having like the personal discipline and the like being able to actually put a strategy together to where it's not just kind of hoping it happens. It's like, hey, doing the work, developing yourself, and then like hustling, but then like hustling in the right, like hustling strategically, hustling in the right direction.
Yeah.
That's dope. So you're not going to get to go on the European?
No, I'm not. I'm not. I told her it's too long. I was like, you can't be away that long. You're going to have to fly me out there and find out. She's like, we're on a boat. I'm like, okay, fair enough. Yeah. So, but yeah, and I haven't put this on my stories yet, but this last weekend, you may appreciate this or not if you're a car guy, but I took Connor, my oldest son, to Atlanta, and we did a supercar driving experience. So like,
dope. And like on the track?
Yeah.
Cool.
So like we did a test drive first with one of their drivers taking us around, and then you get like either Lamborghini, Ferrari, Porsche, Corvette. Just whatever. They had like a dozen or more. There's probably 25
millions of dollars of cars.
Yeah. So it was legit experience. But yeah, a lot of fun for sure. So
yeah.
But
okay, and then so this is interesting. This is I just thought about this. So obviously there's a there's an age gap between Connor and the other kids.
Ethan, yeah.
Yeah. So what's it like? Like, so I would not argue, but I would say like Connor's been able to have probably a little bit of a different childhood.
So Ethan's my youngest.
Or Ethan, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Ethan's the youngest. Sorry.
Yeah.
So Ethan's been able to have a different, a little bit of a different childhood than like the other.
I think the kid's flown more first class than I have in my life. So just like, it's ridiculous. Sorry. What's your question though?
Well, so kind of like putting that together with like what you're saying of like, not only being like just the best husband, dad, father, man you can be, but then being able to also build this thing to have the freedom to be able to like, hey, you want to go supercars, you want to go Disney World, you want to go this, like being able to go and do those things. Like, what's that been like?
So Ethan's been our travel buddy for the last couple of years, and he was on the road with us last year. I think he went most everywhere except Fiji. But we've had seasons passes at Disney World for the last 2 years. The year before that, we had seasons passes at Universal Studios. He's super grateful, great kid to travel with. But his sense of reality is a little bit distorted. And it's fun, and I love joking about it. And the older two are like, "What the heck?" Like, what? You're in college, you're at school, you can't participate. So it's just been neat to be able to not have the limitations that I had when I was younger, before we had kind of figured out some things. And so I love, but I'm very intentional, right? Like I live life 90 days at a time. The things that I started in 2017, as far as how I live my life, as far as investing in my kids and in myself and in my mindset and in my business, I still do all of that today. I just got, today's March 31st, right? We're in the last day of the quarter. I just got done with my quarterly targets for the quarter. I'm going to set new targets for next quarter. And part of my targets were 2 trips to Charleston to visit Peyton because it's her last semester in college. So I did that. We hiked the bridge. We went to dinner. We went to brunch. We went to a comedy show. My other target was with Ethan to take him on an overnight. And he actually wanted to go visit his sister. So I knocked out 2 birds with 1 stone. We did the overnight with Ethan and we did that. And then Connor, it was to take him on the supercar. He's a car guy, so I took him on the super. That was part of my targets. Amy, it was her birthday last 2 weeks ago, and I was supposed to create an epic birthday adventure for her. Was my target for the quarter. Well, she decided she didn't want to leave the state in March, which is when her birthday is, and so I had to do a staycation. So I rented a really nice suite at the Grand Bohemian downtown Greenville. We went and saw Rascal Flats. We went to dinner. We had brought friends and family in for dinner one night. Paid for everything. Stayed over Sunday night. Ethan stayed with us Saturday. I'm very intentional about making sure, because if you ever have read or heard Jesse Itzler, he wrote Living with the Seal. He actually hired David Goggins to come live with him for 30 days. Wrote a really cool book. But one of his ideas, his frameworks is hashtag BYLR, build your life resume. Right? Like at the end of the day, I can look back at 2024 at all the different things that we experienced. And it's great. And some people might be like, oh, it's ego and prideful and flaunting and what. No, it's just like I'm building my life resume. Like I want to do cool stuff with people I love and have a good time and enjoy life. We work hard and we play hard and we have a lot of fun. So, but I'm very intentional, right? So I've got some goals physically this year. I've got some goals mindset wise. I'm working with a mindset coach right now. Just trying to take it to that next level, right? Trying to stay ahead of my world that needs me to keep, to become something greater so they can become greater. That makes sense. It's some people would look at it and it's like, oh, it's too much, or you're doing too much. It's like, compared to who? Compared to what? Like this is what I want to, you look at that mountain you were talking about, which, don't want to get to the top of the one and decide I was at the wrong one. So I'm just going to keep going. So,
so Elizabeth and I went and saw Death of a Unicorn on Friday, which by the way is a great movie. It's surprisingly good. A24 is kind of killing it right now. That's the studio behind it. And they, but that to say, that date of like, hey, we're gonna go see a movie, grab dinner, like that was on like our Google Calendar 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
From a personal standpoint, like that's been something where like just being really intentional about things like that, especially now that Ollie's here, because like now it's not like, hey, let's just go do this. It's like, we have a tiny human. We got to
Yeah.
do something with it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? We can't just leave it outside. Like, so being able to like, even just date night, you know what I mean? Of like, hey, like, as whatever as it seems, like we're putting this on the calendar and then we're talking every week about like our finances and our food, what we're eating and whatever, like all the whatever stuff. But like having that just intentionality of it. And like, it's been awesome. Like from a marriage standpoint, because there's so many things that like I know would have fallen through the cracks had we not. But then I just feel like from a marriage standpoint, like I get to be a lot better of a husband to Elizabeth because like we're just on the same page with things. We're not like, she's not having to guess where I'm at. I'm not having to guess where she's at. I think it was really fun. So this is kind of putting two things together, but like it was really funny explaining LDX to Elizabeth after I filmed it, because I was like, oh, okay, hey, hey, how'd it go? Oh, it was cool, yeah, I showed her the video and that kind of thing, and then we were talking about me doing it in the fall, and it was kind of like, okay, cool, yeah. And at that point, it's like, hey, we got to do something. Like I mean, stuff's not great with the business and stuff's not great with me personally. And like, we just like something has to change. Right. And I think she knew it too. And then what's really funny is I'm not going to go into all the details of it, but there was a very high chance that I was actually going to have to leave early because of extenuating circumstances with something. And I was really like, for anyone that knows my wife, she is not, I would not call her like the most assertive person. She tends to be a very like go with the flow, like, oh, hey, like, okay, cool. Like if that's what you want to do, whatever. Right. So, when I brought the possibility that I was not going to be staying all the way through LDX, like the event, she was like, no, like either you're going to find someone to handle this. I'm going to go handle it. Whatever, but you are not missing this. Like you were not, because she had seen even then, right? Like, and this was pre like the in person, like she had seen the difference that like that intentionality and that like that focus had made. Yeah. And then it's been even more so now where it's like, it's been killer. Like on the personal side, professional side, like it's,
I'll kind of wrap up with this thought as far as personal development goes. People discount the power that they'll get, the confidence, the certainty from showing up in other areas of their life to support the business, right? So like showing up physically for yourself, like working out, nutrition, like you talked about, mindset, meditation, reading, learning, growing. Like people discount those things. Date night, like you discount, like you, Dusty, you show up more powerfully here in this space at the studio because you intentionally planned a date night with your wife that's been on the calendar for 3 weeks, booked the ticket is the way I like to say it, and followed through on it. Like she that time owned real estate in your calendar and you were intentional about it. Guess what? You stand a little taller when you come inside of a conversation with somebody because you're showing up the way you need to show up for her and for Ollie, like, doing the daily deposit stuff. Like it's somewhat selfish in that like I gain power from my morning routine, which whether it's a morning routine, afternoon routine, evening routine, whatever, I gain power from that translates over into how I show up inside a business, and people discount that. They think, oh, I just need to sell more. I need to produce more. I need to figure out marketing. I need to figure out advertising. I need to, hire that right person, right? Like none of that stuff's going to fall into place until you start to show up powerfully. And you can't do that if you're eating like garbage, not training, not working on your mindset, not dating your wife, not dating your kids. Like you're just going to continue to struggle. Like that is the 10x multiplier of building a business that will run without you, so you can enjoy the life that most of us just dream about. So yeah. Okay,
well, that I feel like that's a pretty killer spot to not wrap up necessarily because I did one thing I want to ask, but yes. Okay. So shelf life, right? So kind of the goal of the podcast is like, want to talk to like business owners, people that are like really like have a really great story to tell, like a story that's going to last, excuse me. What would you say is the biggest thing that you would want to share from like your story, right? Like what's the biggest thing you would want to share from your story to somebody else to like help them?
Biggest thing that I would want to share to help somebody else. Boy, I mean, my whole story has been super impactful when I get the opportunity to share it. But I would say, and I think I've already said it numerous times, but you can't show up for someone else or for your world if you're not showing up for yourself, right? Mm. And so I think it starts with you can't lead anybody else if you can't lead yourself. Mm. And so for me, I think the shift that I made to just realize that I was worth investing in just as much as my business, just as much as my team, just as much as everything else, I was worth investing in. Yeah. And so I think it wasn't until I actually stopped and had someone hold me accountable to investing in myself that things really started to shift and change. And so I guess it's twofold. Number one, being willing to take that step and realize the value that you have, but also putting yourself into a place where you have leverage on yourself with someone in accountability, right? Like that's, as far as like shifting things for you, it's one thing to say you're going to do something. It's another thing to commit to someone else that you're going to do it. Yeah. And actually hold yourself accountable. So get yourself into a place of having leverage on yourself. So, and that's really what we do. I still do it to this day. You know, I have a handful of coaches that I constantly work with, and then that's just me putting myself into a place of leverage where I'm paying for someone to hold me accountable to do the stuff I say I'm going to do. Yeah. You know, so yeah.
Dope. Cool. Well, thank you very much. Yeah. Guys, Chris Breen with Legacy Decks, with LDX. Where can they? Okay, so I know you mentioned LDX on Instagram. Where can they find out more about Legacy Decks?
Yeah, so I mean, the easiest way to find out about everything me is on my Instagram, which is official Chris Breen. Okay, with a B, Breen.
We'll put it up. Don't worry.
Yeah, and you know, if they want to look up Legacy Decks, it's Legacy Decks and Outdoor Living. We've got Legacy Decks Academy and the Legacy Day Experience. So all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you for being here. Guys, thanks for checking out Shelf Life, and we'll see you next time.
Hey guys, thank you so much for checking out the Top Shelf Show. We hope that you walk away feeling inspired by the stories, by the lessons that these entrepreneurs, these business owners have learned and that they shared with us in this episode. We want to congratulate you in advance on the success that you're about to have in your own business, and we cannot wait to hear from you one day and possibly have you on the show. So be sure to check out the next episode, and as always, you can reach us on all of our social media platforms here. And thank you guys. We'll see you next time.